King Cobra is a 1999 creature feature directed by David and Scott Hillenbrand. After scientists create a King Cobra rattlesnake hybrid, it escapes from the lab and goes on a rampage. So it's up to a local doctor and a snake expert to stop the deadly creature before it kills again. But before we get into this venomous venture, I just want to ask that if you end up enjoying this video, then please think about hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. And if you do, make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss any of my videos. It would really help me out. So thanks. Also, there will be full spoilers ahead, but if that doesn't bother you, then grab your wasp nest flavoured popcorn and whip out some diamondback rattle cake as we dive into King Cobra. So the movie begins with a quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes, but I have no idea who that is, and the quote makes no sense, so we're off to a bad start already. Then we see some sneaky bastard scientists doing, you guessed it, lab work. Of the sneaky bastard variety. They're working with snake DNA, you see, and for some reason they've decided to combine a king cobra with a diamondback rattlesnake and make it really big for reasons I don't think are ever explained.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Anyway, the head scientist, who I'm going to call Dr. Patch. Patch? Aye, Patch. As in, eye patch. Aye, eye patch. Aye. But he doesn't have one. Oh, he will. Will he? Aye. He notices one of his colleagues is absent and says,
"Where's McConnell?"
"Oh, don't worry, he's just in the back, struggling to live."
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be a lot.
I'm going to call him Obnob, because he's both obnoxious and a knob.
Oh, spank me harder, baby.
Is a sentence he's never had said to him, ever. So while the other scientists are playing a game of how dangerous can we make a snake before it's too dangerous, Dr. Patch gets an email, so he goes into the next room. But Obnob, being a knob, locks the door on him. Then he and his stupidest colleagues start cramming everything they can into the experiment because they're idiots.
Breakthroughs aren't made carefully and conservatively. Science is about taking risk and pushing boundaries.
Seriously, if this guy is such an obvious liability, how did he even get the job? Through poor script writing, I believe. Right you are, Ken. Right you are. Anyway, Dr. Patch's daughter tries to stop them with the tried and tested method of poor acting.
Toshi, how can you betray him?
Because if I don't, Obnob said he would eat my son, and I believe him. Then the flask shatters and the contents set fire to a cable leading to a tank of explosive gas, so the room explodes. Well done, King Cobra. You win the comic award for most ludicrous catastrophe. So Obnob is dead, thank God, and so is Toshi, while Dr. Patch fumbles around in the smoke looking for his daughter. But she realises the 30-foot King Cobra rattlesnake combo has escaped, and it slithers up behind her and makes a Jurassic Park velociraptor noise as it attacks her. Oh, and the snake is called Seth for some reason. I was going to give the snake Seth Rogen's voice, but I realised that would be insufferable, so I didn't. So Dr. Patch finds her dead and walks off with her corpse. The weirdo. We then cut to 2 years later and we see this child sitting on a rocking chair in the middle of the woods on her own. Because this is the 90s and danger didn't exist back then. As evidenced by her brother jump scaring her with a toy snake. She calls him a fucking dickhead and runs off. But then the real snake sneaks up on him. I thought you said the 90s were safe. Yeah, but this is a movie. Or is it? It is. Yeah, it is. Or is it? Elsewhere we meet our protagonist, who is a doctor and is giving the town mayor a checkup.
So, how am I looking, Doc?
Well, first of all, congratulations! You're pregnant!
What?
Oh, sorry, my mistake. You've simply eaten an entire lamb.
Huh. I can't even remember doing that.
I'm going to call the mayor Major Cholesterol. And our protagonist is going to be called Tommy, because as you'll see, he is essentially the Tommy Wiseau of this movie. And yes, he is also one of the directors too. Anyway, they're talking about Tommy moving to the city, before the mum of those kids in the forest bursts in. So Tommy whips out his stethoscope and the kid's mum says,
What's wrong with him?
"Looks to me like an irresponsible parent left him alone in the woods and he's been bitten by a 30-foot snake. Is he going to be okay?" "Yeah, with the right anti-venom he'll be fine. But your ass is going to jail. For negligence." Then we see some hunters hunting something in the forest. And the way this scene is shot and edited just makes me want to cry.
Son of a bitch. I see. Watch out, watch out. He's right there. Shoot, damn it, shoot.
Anyway, they successfully managed to kill one rabbit, which should sustain one of these two for about 5 minutes, I reckon. Elsewhere, this old fella is chopping wood like Kevin Bacon chopping wood in that film where he chops wood. What was that film called again? Was that The Woodsman? That the pedo one? Yes, that's the one. No, not that one then. It'll come to me.
Hey, Corky. Hey, Corky.
Get the stick, Corky. Do the hokey, Corky. Turn around. That's what it's all about, Corky.
But then he remembers his wife doesn't like playing fetch, nor that he has one. So he goes back to chopping wood like Kevin Bacon chopping wood in that movie where he chops wood.
Was it Sleepers?
That the pedo one?
Yes, that's the one.
Nah, not that one then. It'll come to me. Then our sneaky snack sneaks up behind the old guy because sneaking is what sneaky snacks do best. And again we cut to a different scene before we see the attack because God forbid we get some entertainment in this bastard. But we do get to meet Tommy's girlfriend, who I'm going to call Silver because of her shiny badge. She's helping him pack for his move to the city, which he clearly shouldn't do. But she's brought him a goodbye gift anyway. Oh, it's a pocket computer! Hey computer, will this movie kickstart a successful acting career for me? Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. No, it will not. Your acting ability is subpar. Then he creepily stares at her chest for a bit before they share a really awkward kiss, which he's clearly enjoying a lot more than she is.
What am I doing? Oh, jeez.
Looks to me like you're struggling to act in front of a camera.
I'm sorry, Joe. You know how I feel about you.
Oh, that poor, poor woman.
There's just so many things that I want to accomplish. Things that I'm never going to get to do in a small town. I mean, you have to go to the city, the big city, to be a specialist.
I mean, her face says it all, doesn't it?
And I'm tired of everybody knowing everybody else's business, and I...
Then Silver gets a call on her radio telling her to get to Old Man What's-His-Face's place and to bring Tommy with her. So they rock up and are greeted by these two officers who I'm going to call Barry and Larry. So Tommy asks what's up with Old Man What's-His-Face and Larry says...
Well, he's pretty dead.
As opposed to what? Ugly dead? Tommy inspects the body and pulls out something from the dead guy's boot.
Is that what I think it is?
Well, it depends what you think it is. If you think it's a parsnip, then you'd be incorrect. Then the door bursts open and Barry shows off what he's found nearby. Whoa, that is either the biggest snakeskin I have ever seen or the world's most hilarious novelty condom. Later on, Tommy is looking through the 90s doctor's computer database for the snake species responsible. But suddenly the power goes off.
Perfect. I said 2 p.m., guys.
Not 2 a.m., guys. Meanwhile, Silver is having herself a scary snake dream. But hang on, was she sleeping with that gun in her hand? Christ, I wouldn't want to sleep next to her if that's the case. I mean, nobody wants a lead salad for a midnight snack, do they? Anyway, Tommy's on the phone and says, my power has gone off, so can I come round to yours, please? Even though it's 2 a.m. and I should probably just go to sleep because that doesn't require electricity. So he turns up and says,
Hey, thanks. Power company's got an AM/PM learning disability.
I think I'd rather have a learning disability than whatever's wrong with you, mate. The next day and these two fellas are walking about talking about the upcoming Town Beer Festival. Either that or they're considering going to the cinema to watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which they definitely shouldn't.
We got the bands, we got the babes, we got the boys. All you have to worry about is keeping the beer flowing, okay? It's going to be huge.
Nice fella. I wonder if he's gay.
Then we get a baffling 50-second montage of the beer festival being set up, which is 50 seconds I wish I could get back because it's completely bloody pointless! Meanwhile, Major Cholesterol is refusing to shut down the festival just like the mayor in Jaws, except he looks like he ate the shark from Jaws.
Are you telling me we can't handle one stinking snake?
But they know this isn't your average snake. Why don't they just show him the 30-foot snake skin they found? Oh, because that would make sense! Anyway, Tommy is insistent that letting the festival go ahead would spell disaster.
We don't know what this thing is capable of.
Even though it's already killed someone, which is a fairly good indication of what it's capable of, isn't it? Then Dr. Patch turns up and is all like, Sup for the muckers? Don't suppose you fucking seen a snake over here? And just in case you thought this film wasn't weird enough, we then see a man walking through the woods with his pants round his ankles drinking a beer to this music. Apparently he's playing underpants hide and seek with this chick, who he finds easy enough, but if you ask me, that haircut of his is only likely to make her clothes go back on. But she hears something strange, so they look up and find a giant snake in the trees above them. Honestly though, there's no way you wouldn't notice that great big thing up there. Even if it didn't make any noise, it's only a few feet above them, and it's in the middle of the day, for God's sake! Anyway, it attacks both of them for making this movie stupider than it already is. Meanwhile, Tommy and Dr. Patch are going over the results from Old Man What's-His-Face's autopsy. Results which confirm their worst fears. He was alive, but is now deceased. Then out of the blue, Tommy asks,
So, what caused the accident?
Not that I told you about the accident, but it was due to my colleague, whose catastrophic stupidity was matched only by his ungainly appearance. Then Dr. Patch says they're going to need help to track down the snake, and there's only one man for the job. Me old mate Patrick Patisserie Patterson, aka Patty the Pat, or probably better known as Patient Pate. Then we see this fella returning home after a hard day of luring fish to their deaths. Oh, and he's Tommy's dad, apparently, despite them sharing basically no screen time or dialogue together. Anyway, he goes into his basement and gets jump scared by a broom. But is it even really a jump scare if the subject is neither scared nor jumps? The answer, of course, is no! Then he grabs a beer from the fridge and his cat says, Don't worry, I've got a beer for you too, you grumpy bitch. He then goes and makes himself comfy, and we get the only decent shot in the movie where he sees the snake behind him in the reflection of the TV. So it bites him a few times while he rubs his hand in some smashed glass, because his death by snake venom wasn't quite painful enough for his liking. Then we're at the beer festival, where this reporter is reporting that the guy next to him is off his fucking tits. I mean, look at him, man! Oh god, the only beer this guy's had is to take the edge off his Class A drugs. Quick, somebody get him something soft to stroke. The cops are keeping an eye on things too, making sure that the giant snake doesn't join the festivities dressed up as a bottle of beer. Tommy whips out his late 90s mobile phone and tries to call his dad, but he's been digested, so Tommy just leaves a message saying, "Dad, I'm on a cell phone so I can't speak for more than 30 seconds lest I end up with a brain tumour like everyone thought you'd get in the late 90s, early 90s for some reason. Anyway, I hope you're not dead. Give us a call back, you prick." Then Silver catches some guys trying to leave the party and she says,
Hey, guys, whoa. Party's the other way. Nothing's going on around here.
Nah, something's definitely going on here. I mean, look at this fella. He's only about 4'2". Poor bugger's probably never ridden a roller coaster in his life. Anyway, Tommy shows up and Silver asks where his dad is.
I don't know. I haven't seen him since this morning. I just left a message for him on the answering machine.
Then she offers to go and check on his dad after her shift to make sure he's not dead.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, Joe. Thanks. I gotta go finish packing.
I know this guy co-directed the movie, but did he even know he was in the movie? After her shift, Silver turns up to Tommy's dad's house, but he doesn't answer the door. And we have to watch her walk around the perimeter of the house with a gun drawn for 2 whole minutes! Until she finds the back door open and someone throws a cat at her from off screen. We then see Tommy's acting prowess on full display as he believes his dad is dead, despite not finding a body.
Let's not have any false hopes here. Even if he did get away, the venom would have killed him and we'd have found his body by now.
Why? Why is this happening to me? Why?
Then it's montage time again, and Major Cholesterol has hired the rabbit hunters to hunt a giant snake, which can only go well, I'm sure.
Let's go kick some ass.
Hold on to your butts.
By this time, our old pal Patient Pate has arrived, and they get him caught up to speed with the situation. He asks Dr. Patch,
"How did you manage to cross an African King Cobra with an Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake?"
"Fuck you, that's how." "Okay, well let me tell you something about snakes.
They are responsible for more deaths than all the other dangerous animals in the world combined."
Oh dear, he's in for quite a shock when he finds out what a mosquito is, isn't he? So once Pate finishes telling everyone what they already know, namely that the snake is dangerous, we cut back to the hunters in the woods, who for some mind-strangling reason have brought Mr. off his tits with them, because after their successful rabbit hunt they were in need of a fresh dose of ineptitude. By this time our heroes have also arrived in the woods in their snake-wrangling camper van. And Pate whips out a snake-holding-at-a-distance pole thing, but Tommy says,
"Is that all you got?"
"Please don't say yes, Pate. Please."
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
So Tommy and Pate go for a snake surveillance bike ride while Dr. Patch and Silver set up some razor wire which they won't use. Back to the hunters, and this one is wearing the worst raccoon disguise I have ever seen, while off his tits he's wandering around desperately looking for moisture. But his dry mouth will have to wait as he finds a big-ass tail sticking out of a pile of leaves and says, "Could be, or it could be a very long and very out-of-date corn on the cob." So he walks over to its head and thinks it's already dead. But as soon as the dingus turns his back, it pops up like, "Ha ha, it was a ruse, you gullible fool. Now I'm gonna bite ye. But not eat ye, 'cause you look like you'd give us the shits." Then his mate, who looks like Oliver Reed, fell face first in a cow pat, hears him screaming. So all the hunters rush over to his position and find him having a loud can't-breathe boogie on the floor. It's too late though, and he dies the same way he lived, with a body full of toxins. The others get back to trying to find the beast, but it finds them first, spitting venom in all-you-can-eat buffoon's eyes and giving him a good bite, before Kick Some Ass runs face first into the snake's open mouth because he has zero situational awareness. Cowpat Oliver Reed has a chance to shoot the snake, but decides to run off instead because it makes another Jurassic Park raptor noise, which confuses him into cowardice. Later that evening, the gang are chilling by a campfire when Pate injects himself with a dose of King Cobra venom, which is a bit of a weird thing to be addicted to, but okay.
How many times you been bit?
167 times.
167 times? They should have hired somebody else, methinks. The next morning, and they're prepping their snake annihilation tube.
That looks good to me.
You think we need more?
Nah man, it's 100% camouflaged. Then they set up their bait goat and hide 20 feet away behind this log. Do you think it'll see us? Nah, man, we are 100% camouflaged. It ain't long before Mr. Snake comes a-slithering with a hankering for some goat butchering. It gets right up in front of the goat, but then stops, turns to the side and can clearly see the bunch of absolute morons less than 20 feet away behind the log. It's like, you know, I can see you, dickheads, but this goat is awfully tempting, I'll be honest. Then, because he has the patience of a one-eyed scientist trying to correct his past mistakes, Dr. Patch tries to shoot the damn thing, which buggers up the entire plan. So the snake sods off and they're left to rely on Mr. I only got bit 167 times, whoops, and his collection of poles.
Great. Wonderful. Shit.
It ain't long till they encounter it again, though, and it sneaks up behind them and bites Dr. Patch on his silly old man bum. So while Tommy and Silver try to literally save his ass, Pate tries to pull the bastard. The snake, that is, not Dr. Patch. And it spits venom in his face, but he's like, ha ha, your venom cannot penetrate my googlies. So it proceeds to bite him. Not once, not twice, or 3 or 4 times, but 5 times. Well done, Pate. You were about as useful as a toothbrush made of licorice. Silver wants to outdo his dumbassery though, so she runs at the snake shooting, but runs out of ammo almost instantly, and is now within ideal biting distance. But fear not, Silver, as Tommy then does this. Oh my god, you mad bastards who came up with this movie, like. Tommy then climbs into the tube and the snake follows him in, but the latch on the end is stuck. Thankfully, the tube is 10 times longer on the inside than it is on the outside, so the snake hasn't caught him yet, but she gets it open at the last second. So they shut it and pull the release cable for the other end. But then that breaks too! I mean, for Christ's sake, did nobody check this equipment beforehand? It's as useless as the people are! So the snake turns around and heads for the other side, and somehow they have time to roll the damn tube all the way over to this tree to block the entrance. But I mean, look how long it is, man! It's not even 30 feet in itself! Not only would the snake not fit in it, but it'd only take a grand total of 3 seconds to get out of it!
I gotta close the vents and gas them.
I got it! Close the vents and gas them! So Silver activates the lethal gas to kill the snake, but not before it pierces the tube with its fangs. So Tommy, being a genius, continues to rest his arms on it, and they don't seem bothered at all about the lethal gas that would be coming out of it either. Anyway, the day is saved. Tommy decides not to leave for the city. Silver is gutted that he isn't leaving, and Dr. Patch is recovered from his very sore bum. But then in a final twist we see that the gas used to kill the snake was in fact sleeping gas. How did nobody check this? And there we have it, folks. Oh dear, King Cobra is a bit of a mess. An entertaining mess, but most definitely a mess. I mean, credit where credit's due. I thought the practical snake was good, and Pat Morita is always good fun to watch. But pretty much everything else was hilariously bad. It honestly reminded me of Tommy Wiseau's The Room at points. From the weird dialogue to the way people act, it's all just so bizarre. Which kinda makes King Cobra a perfect movie to watch with your mates after a few beers. So, King Cobra, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you loathe it? Let me know in the comments below while I... Stern of Echoes! What are you shouting about? The movie with Kevin Bacon chopping wood. Are you sure that's not The Woodsman? Nah, that's the pedo one.